Don't forget the speed title too.
I don't know if I'd call that a mid-card title, but it's nice to know that they let Andrade win something from time to time. It's a good thing he left AEW to get the speed title. That's a.
Well, I'm sure he's a lot happier in WWE. He's not going to be a main eventer, you know? Put on some bangers with Carmelo, gets a couple title matches, he'll probably get a U.S. title run here and there. And, you know, that's his place. He's a great talent, but language barrier. You can't talk, you know? I mean, he can't cut a 10-minute promo, you know?
True, but Asuka can't cut a promo either, and, you know, she has a language barrier. I mean, she speaks minimal English, but she's still able to get more over than Andrade. I think also it's just lack of charisma. I mean, there's just a lot of other stuff. There's people who can get over who don't, you know, speak English as their first language, let alone well.
We got Asuka, which I agree.
Asuka, IYO SKY. IYO SKY had a pretty good run.
All right, how about we go to this? Name men performers, because I think the women are easier.
No, women seem a lot easier to push in general. That's one thing we learned selling cards on Whatnot is it's a lot easier to invest into women's cards than men's cards. Yeah, men, I mean, there's not a lot of guys who, I guess you could argue Umaga, even though he knew English, they didn't really have him speak English as a champion, you know. But that's going back a ways. Or like Yokozuna, he knew English. They didn't really have him use English. Again, that's going back a long time.
Yeah, I mean,
nowadays, now these days, like, it is a lot harder. I mean, you even look at Shinsuke. You know, Shinsuke is definitely above Andrade, but it was like 2 or 3 months ago where people were like, is this guy about to get fired? Because the way they're using him is just not that great. You know, again, the language barrier, they really had to repackage him. And it still remains to be seen if this new repackaging actually works for him long term.
It won't.
I mean, don't tell that to Tim, but I agree with you.
I mean, they didn't really even repackage him that much.
They made him evil.
I mean, he's still doing the promos with the subtitles.
I like that. I think that's cool.
And he has used Mist before in WWE. Yeah. He's used it a couple of times. And now he's got, you know, repackage with, I guess that as repackaged as you can be, new entrants and darker clothes, but I seem like it's the same Shinsuke that left before. I mean, Shinsuke's great, you know?
Great in the ring. You know, he has aura. I think the main roster kind of killed his aura when you watch, if you go on YouTube and you watch that first time that Shinsuke was on the main roster and everyone's singing along with the music, the guy coming out with the violin, the aura was on a different level. But it just didn't translate. Just like when Robert Roode came out the first time, you hear his Glorious song and people were like into it. Yeah. And it died. It didn't last that long, you know.
Just like Okada.
What about Okada?
He had aura. Now he's got nothing.
I think a little different. Little different.
People weren't even using the word aura. It was like this fancy buzzword now on X when it comes to wrestling. They used it for Okada when he signed with AEW. This guy's got aura. Everyone's saying aura, and now he goes to AEW, and it's the classic. You know, I can't speak English, but I could say a couple bad words in it. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Bitch.
Well, that's kind of what they did with Sammy Guevara, too, who could speak English, but the guy couldn't talk. So they would just be like, bitch. And you're like, all right, bro. Like,
Okada has zero aura now, and he lost to Kyle Fletcher. His aura's gone.